A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to The Globe, coming to you live from Johannesburg. I'm Simpio Ngoanes. Good to have you with us.
Indeed, a very good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Lulu Gabu. On to our top story. Algerian state media say the country's embattled President Abdelaziz Bouteflika will resign by April the 28th, the date in which his time in office is due to expire.
The announcement that Bouteflika would stand for the fifth term had triggered a series of mass demonstrations across Algeria.
The reports come after the Army Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Ahmed Gayet Salam, renewed a call on Saturday for the Constitutional Court to declare the ailing 82-year-old Bouteflika unfit to rule. Bouteflika said on March the 11th he was dropping plans for a fifth term, but stopped short of stepping down immediately to wait for a national conference on political change. That further enraged protesters, prompting Salah to step in by proposing last week to ask the Constitutional Council to see whether he is still fit for office. The TV reports, citing political sources regarding his possible resignation, say Bouteflika, who has rarely been seen in public since suffering a stroke in 2013, might announce his resignation on Tuesday. The reports came hours after Bouteflika named a caretaker cabinet. Political sources said that might be a signal that Bouteflika could resign, as a caretaker president cannot name cabinets. Tens of thousands have taken to the streets of Algiers for more than a month, complaining of corruption, nepotism and economic mismanagement they say has tarnished Bouteflika's rule.
And for more on this story, we joined via Skype by the Afro-Middle East Centre researcher Ebrahim Deen. A very good evening to you, Mr. Deen. Thank you so much for joining us. What's the likelihood that President Bouteflika can resign?
Thanks for having me. It's inevitable. Bouteflika will resign. It's just a matter of time. And, two things point to this resignation being imminent. One is the fact that the military and the FLN, which is really the ruling National Liberation Front, have actually, distanced themselves from him. And two is, we look at the new cabinet that has been, reshuffled that happened yesterday. We saw 21 out of 27 ministers being new ministers. So there's an attempt to try and, buy the lap of war or the power that we have to try and negotiate a transition, which would see them secure the interests and also result in the end of Bouteflika.
I mean, the announcement of a major cabinet reshuffle, should we construe this as the start of a process leading to his resignation?
It does seem so. It does seem as if, we look at the ministers that are appointed. One is he has a very close ally still there as Prime Minister Nuruddin Badawi. He still maintains, the defense portfolio. Gayet Salah maintains the Deputy Defense Minister. But it does seem as if the only person that has been removed is Ramtin Lamamra, former Foreign Minister. It seems as if, from this that the FLN is trying to push for him to be a candidate, after Bouteflika resigns in the new election.
Mr. Deen, you have been following events quite closely in Algeria. What do you think convinced the military to turn against President Bouteflika? I
think two things. One is the military has been, in opposition or had a bit of an antagonistic relationship with Bouteflika for the past 5 years. They've been supportive, but also, in Algeria, there's three centers of power: the DRS, which is the intelligence, the military, and the party. They're not always in agreement, but they always look for consensus. They have different positions. And, the military already in 2014, at least the intelligence advised Bouteflika not to run. So, they've already been planning for his succession. That's the first thing. And two is the protests have, been so long and so ongoing that it's very difficult, for no change to occur. So the military seeing this protest, wanting to protect its role in the future, Algeria has then, quickly distanced itself from Bouteflika to try and instrumentalize or benefit from the protest.
I mean, the appointment of a new interim government by President Bouteflika, is this what Algeria needs right now?
I think that, for a change to happen in Algeria, and because, the powers that have been in charge for so long, there has to be a transition. That would be overseen by a caretaker government. I think, though, that the protesters are very unlikely to basically agree with it. They seem to want an end to the whole the system of the elite controlling Algerian politics. And I think that is unlikely at the moment. So I think there is still more contestation that is going to occur in the coming days and weeks.
I mean, there are calls on the Constitutional Council to act. Can it declare the president unfit for office?
I think it can. It's also that President Bouteflika, and I think we forget this, that only been seen in public once since 2013. And so, obviously, he is not the one that has been ruling Algeria. It's actually people, he's just more the instrument behind which others are acting. And that hasn't changed. But also, he is simply has a stroke. So, he doesn't necessarily possess the full capacity for public office. And I think, even though this may have ulterior motives, what the military wants, it is something that is, medically, President Bouteflika could be ruled unfit for.
I mean,
I think he preempted this by announcing this new cabinet and by, soon vowing to resign.
I mean, you have some protesters, Mr. Deen, who suggest that the military is strengthening its position and will not cede power to civilian presidents anytime soon. Are they correct?
I think so. I mean, President Bouteflika, at least in the past 10 years, has actually been trying to empower, the civilian component of the state, and specifically the civilian component in the positions that were previously the diplomatic corps, people like Ahmed or Yahya. Ramki Lamamra. And if you look at what is happening now, all these people, all these members are being sidelined by the military. And the military is now re-establishing control. Last year, Bouteflika fired 12 generals. So the military, seeing this opportunity, is actually strengthening its grip and also trying to gain more popular legitimacy, which it had lost in the past 20 years.
Even though President Bouteflika's resignation was one of the protesters' demands, am I then correct to say that the protest movement will continue because Algerians view the entire establishment as being a part of the problem?
I think so. I mean, Bouteflika already from a month ago said he's not going to stand for still, yet the protests continued. So, it does seem as if the protests initially starting trying to prevent him from running for office is actually the demands have intensified and include now the whole of the political elite. Whether the military can actually, appeal to the population or the protesters to lead this transition, I think is the next question to be asked. Because protesters don't seem to be, I don't think they're going to be weakened or contained a lot by this resignation and this new cabinet.
Mr. Deen, we do appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much for your time. That was Afro-Middle East Centre researcher Ebrahim Deen speaking us via on the line.